Okay, so I am deathly scared of shots. And I had to get maybe 2 or 3 shots, but those 2 shots were hell. Okay, so I had to get, there's a shot that everybody has to get, and I think that there are some pills that some people have to get. But the shot that stood out the most to me, of course, was the peanut butter shot. Now, they tell you that the peanut butter shot doesn't hurt, and I'm probably not the best person to get advice on the peanut butter shot because I hate shots. So the peanut butter shot was the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to me, even worse than having a cough that I could not sleep with. So mine was so bad that I almost passed out, and just like the regular shots, I almost passed out, the ones in my arms, because I started hyperventilating. And when it got to the peanut butter shot, I was so frantic. I was crying, and when they gave me the shot, I screamed, and I had to be the absolute last person to get the shot because they had to clear the room. They let me lie down. Everybody else had to like bend over the table, but I got a chance to lie down, and the nurse held my hand. Or she was a doctor. She held my hand, and it got so bad, or at some point it got so bad that they were considering calling the authorities, because if you don't get the shot, it's called refusal to train, or that's what they consider it, refusal to train, and then you get in trouble. I don't know what kind of trouble you get in, but because I wasn't refusing to get the shot, I was just frantic, they couldn't call anybody, so I ended up getting the shot, and it was absolutely terrible. Now, what you hear about the peanut butter shot being like stuck in your butt, in like that one spot where they inject it, it's like really in that area, it's really stuck in there. So you have to move your butt around, and when you're sitting down, you have to massage it and stuff like that. But I came up with a way that I could massage it, just like moving my butt up and down from left to right. Okay, move my butt up and down, and then left to right. And I had the whole compartment doing it. So it was hilarious. I had so much fun. Well, afterwards. But it hurt so bad. It stung. I just didn't like it. It was a terrible experience. I would not want to do it again. If anyone tells you that you have to get the peanut butter shot, like, for the second half of boot camp, they're lying to you. You don't have to get it. And luckily, I think people that are allergic to penicillin and that have to, like, take the pills are very fortunate, because I just don't like shots. Okay, so during week 2, we also had to do rack making drills, and yeah, so you make your rack, you undo your rack, you make it again, and you just redo it again. So rack making drill, there is a specific way that you have to put your stuff on your bed and to make it, and there's a specific way to undo your rack so that your rack isn't looking a mess. I don't know, but it's like a smiley face with ears, and they'll explain everything to you in boot camp, but there's a specific way to undo your rack, and there's a specific way to do your rack. And yes, they count inches. I don't know how strict they are with inches. They are pretty strict with the way it looks, though. It has to be a certain way, and they'll just explain it to you when you get in boot camp. They explained to us what Division IT was during the second week, but we didn't get Division IT until, like, I want to say week 6. And luckily I wasn't there for that either, because I was somewhere else. Alright, so Division IT is when your whole division gets in trouble, like somebody does something, or the division does something, or they don't do something that they're supposed to do, and it makes your RDCs look bad. So they make an announcement over the intercom saying that the whole division, whatever division you're in, I was in Division 950, so they'd say Division 950 preparing to do Division IT or something like that. So, yeah. Division IT is when you get intense training, which is like working out, and they're going to tell you what to do. So it's a punishment as a division. And when they do it over the intercom, whoever's in the building that wants to come participate will come participate with you. Like the RDCs will like come yell at you from other divisions and tell you that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So yeah, they'll just yell at you, make you try to work harder. Division 19. Okay, so in addition to punishments, you guys get reindeer games. So our division, our RDCs, which is our petty officers and chief, used to do this thing called reindeer games with us, and that was when we got in trouble as a division. It wasn't as bad as Division IT, but it was similar to Division IT, and reindeer games is a punishment, but instead of working out, you're just running drills, like rack drills. So you're gonna make your bed or undo your bed, or you're gonna fold your clothes and unfold your clothes, and you're gonna do that until they tell you to stop. And let me tell you, it's tedious. It's super annoying. I hated it. I would rather work out, but that's just me. And when you're doing Division IT, you're doing it in your heavy boots, and I think those boots are like either between 1 to 5 pounds extra, like, weight on your feet, so it sucks. We also went to a class about the UCMJ, and the UCMJ is the Uniform Code of Military Justice, something like that. So that explains to you all the laws all the rules of the military. So it goes across the board from the Navy to the Marines to the Coast Guard and Air Force. Air Force. And the UCMJ class was just explaining to us all the penalties or all the rules that you can't break, and there's like a test on it afterwards. So pay attention in that class. The UCMJ, you have like 3 tests during boot camp, so the UCMJ test is one of them. It's really not that important. And there's like one article, okay, so it's stuff like failure to adhere to a petty officer's, I don't know, rules or something, or petty officers, I don't know, it's stuff like that. So you can get charged for not doing what a petty officer tells you, not doing what an officer tells you. It covers rape, sexual harassment, and all that other good stuff. So yeah, during the second week we took a lot of classes, and during the second week is also when we took our PFA. So we took the PFA, and that's the first PFA that you take in order to get advanced or not advanced. But you have to pass the PFA and the written exam in order to in order to get advanced from like E1 to E2 or E2 to E3. And you can't go past E3 in boot camp. So if you're already in E3, that's just it. You're not gonna go past E3. I thought I would, but I didn't. Okay, so because if you go past E3, you'd be a petty officer, and they just can't have that. Coming out of boot camp, a petty officer, crazy. Okay. And the PFA just consists of push-ups, sit-ups, and a run. They make you stretch before, and they ask if you've had enough water. If you say no, then you're not allowed to participate and you just missed your chance. But everybody usually just says yes. Oh, and they usually tell you that in the Navy, you can't fail the sit-ups and the push-ups, but with the run, you can't fail that. And they say that because they encourage teamwork. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Teamwork. Okay. Here we got issued. Okay, in the second week we also got issued our military ID, and that was not the same for me, because they messed up my birthday in the system, so I had to keep going back and forth, running like maybe a mile there and a mile back to get my military ID, and I got it closer to the end. They had my birthday wrong in the system, and they just couldn't change it. They just would not change it. So I had to call my mother to try to get her to send my birth certificate and stuff like that, or they had to try to get it from their records. Sorry. They had to try to get it from their records. They just couldn't find my information. So if you get a situation like that, consider yourself fortunate because you get to make a phone call. I love phone calls. Okay. Here is when, okay, this week we also did the swim quals. It was, it was easy up to a point. Swim calls, I think I explained that in one of my other videos, where like I didn't pass one portion, which was the dead man's float, and I had to do that part again. But the second time I passed it, I didn't have to like go back or anything. They give you a second chance that day to pass it, because what I was doing was treading water, and that's not what you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to float there, bring your head up for a little bit, and then put your head back down in the water. So swim calls, you can do your third or your second class. I just did third because, I mean, that's just what I wanted to do. You really don't have to do second if you don't want to, because unless you're trying to go for like a specific job, like deep sea diver or something, then that's when you have to do your second class. But you really don't have to. It's not necessary to pass boot camp. You have to do like a couple strokes, and I think that's pretty much it. I didn't do it, so I don't know much about it. Okay, and last thing that week that I remember that we did was holiday routine, and that is a Sunday, and on that Sunday you get to either go to church or do other things productive. Do other things productive, like iron your clothes, make your racks. I mean, I guess your racks are already gonna be made, but I mean, you could remake your rack if you wanted to. It's just a day when you can do anything that you want to do. And that, on those days, I chose to take a really long shower and shave, and one time I even deep conditioned my natural hair and put my weave back in. And I will make a separate video about my hair in boot camp, because that was a big issue for me. That was one of my major concerns in boot camp, was my hair. And holiday routine is from 07 to 1300, but you wake up at like 6 o'clock. So Reveille is always at 6 o'clock, which is wake up. You wake up at 6 o'clock, you go eat. And if you're going to church, you go eat a little bit earlier than everyone else. But if you're not going to church, you go eat with your division or whoever else is left that's not going to church. But I didn't go to church. I always said that I would, but then I never ended up going. So yeah. And lastly, on that day, you field day. I really don't remember what we did like in between the time that we weren't field. I think field day was from like an hour or 2 hours, where you just clean your compartment and you just clean your compartment the whole day, or not the whole day, for just those like 1 or 2 hours after a holiday routine. And after that, I think they weren't allowed to like drill you. They weren't allowed to IT you or PT you or anything, or IT or you or anything, but I think they could take you out to go drilling, like marching in the drill hall, or marching in the streets and stuff like that. So yeah, you just clean the compartment. That was pretty cool, because in our division, the boys and the girls were able to get together, clean up. Of course, we wouldn't just be cleaning, we'd be talking and stuff like that. I mean, our division was like known for talking, so that wasn't all great, but yeah. So yeah, and that was pretty much week 2 for me. Week 2 is when we started getting all comfortable with each other and pooping with each other, like in the next stall. I know no one wants to hear that, but you're gonna get pooping buddies. It's just a thing that you do. You pump and dump. That's what they called it. Pumping and dumping. Oh, this is probably annoying. Pumping and dumping. So every time after you eat, you go to the bathroom or whatever. However your bowels decided to move that day. But usually you had like a pooping buddy. I mean, you don't have to have one, but you get so comfortable that you get one. And okay, so if I had a tip for the PFA, I would say that although you're not allowed to PT or do anything by yourself during week 1 or before you finish your processing, I would say that you could do some things like during the times you're supposed to be sleeping. So like you could bust out a couple of push-ups or sit-ups, or we just decided to talk. But if you're not sure about the PFA and you need to advance, I would say after lights out or after taps, do a little push-ups, sit-ups, or jog in place or something. So yeah, whatever your concern is, work on it at that time. You're not supposed to, but you can. You can't, but you can do whatever. Do whatever you think will help you to advance, because no one wants to be E2 or E1 until they graduate, because yeah, no one wants to do that. Alright, bye you guys. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Definitely comment, because I like the comments. The comments are always fun to answer to. If you guys have any questions, definitely ask, because I like comments.